Well, great. I am so excited to have you all here. I am Kevin Hartman. I am the Director of Analytics at Google. I am also instructing here at Elevator for the first time. This is the first time that we're launching this course, so I could not be more pleased to be here with this fantastic crew, this great support team that's bringing this course to you. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun as well. You are in joining digital marketing analytics here at Elevator. You have chosen a great class at a great time. I mean, this is a great time because there's so much happening in this space. So this is from a very important tool that we'll talk about in this course called Google Trends, which analyzes the volume of searches done on google.com. And through that tool, you get great insight into what's on the minds of consumers, what is important to them, right? People search at Google those things that they won't share anywhere else. So you do get a very good sense of the importance of a topic. The other URL will show you how Google has made sense of all of that data, understanding the way that you are searching, the videos you're watching, places that you're going, and how that translates into either interests that you have or other elements of your profile. And so when you look in there, you will see things, and maybe some of them make sense to you, maybe some of them don't. This is metadata that's being created on top of all the data that you are generating. So just tremendous amounts of data. It is a kind of an evolution of the traditional funnel idea, right? Which was like consumers think in terms of all these brands that they will evaluate, and they slowly sort of whittle them down until there's the one they choose. And what we learned was that's not the way consumers shop anymore at all, particularly with all the choice available to them, and this introduction of ZMOD and the zero moment of truth, where they can bounce around and collect all sorts of information. Brands have the opportunity to connect with a consumer and get on that list, low funnel, mid funnel, as well as high funnel, right? Just because you're not one of the brands that they think of originally doesn't mean that you won't be the one they choose. But these are a number of the ways that we might evaluate, or metrics that we might build around online video, right? Many of them look the same as how we would evaluate television commercials. How many people did we reach? How frequently did they see it? Did they see it once? Did they see it twice? How many people saw it 3 times? How many people saw it 4 times and on, right? What we know in the industry is GRPs, gross rating points, which are 1 point is 1% of the population. There's a number of different visual techniques that we will want to try. And what's important for us to understand is this simple concept that different visual techniques, different visual forms are tied to different categories of insight, right? Change I can see through a line graph or a column graph, even a histogram if I've got a lot of data. But I'm not going to see change when I put my data into a pie chart, right? These things seem obvious, but we too often will rush to the one visual form that we're familiar with or comfortable with, and not think of putting data through the rest. More importantly, as we are thinking about these questions that we're looking for, we have to have an idea of what visual form will show us an answer for us, provide an answer to those questions that we're asking. We also, as analysts, we just need to become more familiar with the more tools that provide these visual forms and the construction of those visual forms. The more that we can do, the more flexibility that we have here, the better we'll be at analyzing. The artificial neuron here illustrated in a tool like TensorFlow can start to take enormous amounts of data and process that and build insights or reveal patterns in that data for us. And we've seen examples, and I think I've cited examples in the first class of a number of different ways that these neural networks are used. Search trends. So we have seen search trends become a much more respected kind of data point, right? We're seeing places like the Financial Times, Wall Street Journals reference search trends in articles they're writing, research that they're conducting. And it really is a very insightful tool. It gives us great insight into what is on the minds of consumers. And just so that we're going to do a little bit on Google Trends, but just to warm up a little bit, let's, you can drop your votes into the chat. Which do you think are searched with more regularity and more frequency on Google, babies or puppies? Babies or puppies? Go ahead and drop a vote. Puppies, puppies, wow, lots of puppies. You guys like puppies. Few babies, yes, but mostly puppies. It is babies by a landslide, actually. Puppies are cute for sure. I think it's probably the fact that people have more questions about babies than they do about puppies. So we see babies searched quite a bit more. How about this? Beer or wine? Beer or wine? Wine, 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 wine. Beer, 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 wine. Yes, it is indeed wine broadly, unless you are in the northeast of the United States or the Midwest of the United States, where beer wins the day. But wine does get searched with much more frequency than others. How about this? How about low carb diet or keto diet? Low carb diet or keto diet? What do you think that is? Keto? Okay, yeah, lots of ketos. Yeah, it is keto. I think keto just confuses people a little bit. I think low carb says what it is in the name. I think people have a little more difficulty wondering, okay, wait, what is keto? This thing I'm about to eat, keto. So keto does get searched a lot more. How about this one? How about Zoom or Tiger King? Zoom or Tiger King? Which do you think is searched more? Oh, it's about 50-50 split. It does happen to be, it's actually Zoom. I think with the pandemic and just the relevance of that tool, we've seen that searched quite a bit more. This tool, it really does give deep insight into what people have on their minds. I mean, if you dig around in this data more, and again, let's do the sub-region stuff, sorry. You can see how the different regions of the United States index with their searches of pudding, where pudding is most popular. 100 is Mississippi. Everything then is indexed against Mississippi, and that is searches per populace in Mississippi, right? If I click into Mississippi, I can start to get a little more insight into where in Mississippi, and it seems to be Hattiesburg is number one, 100 is the 100, everything else indexed against that. I can see rising terms, we said before, and what people are searching about related to pudding, right? To give me a sense for those kind of interests. This was a study done by the Advertising Research Foundation, the ARF, and they found, like, what we've got this concept of right time, right person, right message, right? And what they found was that the targeting, the right time and the right person, drove 5 to 35% of ROI, but it was that right message that drove 50 to 80%. And so the message really matters. You can look up that research from, it was in Nielsen Catalina and ARF joint research if you're interested in learning more. But the takeaway is that the messaging, getting that creative messaging right, really does matter. It is important. We do this thing, or we did this thing in the agency that we call brand buzz, which we would analyze the stories that brands are saying by taking their advertising and putting it into some kind of sentiment analysis engine and saying, are these the emotions that you want to evoke? Because these are the emotions that you're giving off through what you're saying. By what consumers are hearing, by going to places like Twitter and other social platforms and pulling down the response to the ads we're putting out. And then also what they were saying. So looking just more broadly at how they were talking about the brand, not specific to the messaging that we were driving or the campaign that we had launched, but just broadly about the brand, and doing some sentiment analysis there as well. There used to be a really great R package called Sentiment that basically would take all of that text and determine its emotional content and how strong the tonality was. All right, gang. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Have a great rest of the night and rest of your week. And I'll see you again Tuesday, if not at office hours on Monday.